Hello and welcome back to the FSF podcast. I am Tim. I am your host, and this is the show that is made by nerds for nerds. So, welcome to the Nerdatorium. Our guest today is an exceptional voice actor that you have heard in many DC animated projects as Wonder Girl or Jessica Cruz, aka the Green Lantern. You have listened to her in Star Wars Resistance as Torra Doza, as well as shows like Madagascar, A Little Wild, Big Nate, World of Warcraft, and I could keep going. Literally, there's like her IMDb page is like littered with cool thing after cool thing after cool thing after. I could keep going with that too. There's just really cool stuff. Anyway, I am very excited to welcome Myrna Velasco to the FSF podcast. Welcome to the show, Myrna.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You have just a wickedly awesome smile, by the way.
Thank you. I paid a lot of money for it.
It's very infectious.
Thank you. I'm a very smiley person. One of my jokes, since I got you laughing, is that it's not a smile, it's jaw tension. So if you see me smiling, it's because it's really awkward and I don't know what else to do.
That's fair.
But no, it's also funny because I was looking at some old pictures of me and I did have kind of a very crooked smile and like teeth were popping out. And I was like, man, I was such a goblin growing up. And I think I shaped up okay.
Ta-da!
Yeah,
it's amazing what can happen with a couple $100 and a dentist.
Yeah, a good orthodontist that
exactly. I'm gonna spend the rest of the interview like this. It'll be fine.
No, it's just Johnson.
All right, so Myrna, one of the things that I love to do with every guest that has come onto this show, and partly because I'm a nerd, and partly because I like to know why people do what they do, what makes them tick. So in the case of Myrna Velasco, what is your origin story? What made you say, I want to be an entertainer?
I think I always was an entertainer. I was also I never had any shame. I come from a really big Mexican family here in LA, and my cousins kind of loved hazing each other, and my sister was the best hazer. She would come up with the scariest things for any of us cousins to do to like pass the test and hang out. And the one she came up with for me, and this is one of my earliest memories, I must have been no more than like 4 or 5 years old. She said, and this is going to date me, so I'm an old person, but she said in order to hang out with the cousins and go play outside in the backyard, I needed to scream sing "I'm Too Sexy" in front of all my aunts. I have 10 aunts. To which I said, okay, but can I say but? And she went, what? And I was like, instead of the regular "I'm too sexy for my shirt, watch. And so I ran out and I like skid to a halt and I just scream saying, I'm too sexy for my butt, too sexy for my butt. And the aunts kind of like stopped and looked and they were like, what is wrong with your daughter? And my mom was like, I don't know. But I sauntered off and I went outside and I looked at my sister and I was like, what are we playing out here?
Nailed it.
Yeah. So I think the origin was that I never had shame, and I love one-upping my big sister. And she was always game to see what crazy thing I did next, and it just evolved. Unfortunately.
It's amazing how many good stories start off with "I have no shame gland."
Yeah, it's weirder.
Yeah, things are about to get weird, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you invited me, Tim.
Exactly. Oh, that's okay. We're gonna get along just fine.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Most of my life has been without that said shame gland. So
yeah, good for us.
Yeah, it's more fun that way. You know what? I always tell people, I'm like, you know what? Life experience and everything else has led me to have a pretty dark sense of humor, but I also find that I'm able to joke about things that most people, I think, would just kind of topple on, into because they
Mhm.
don't know what else to do. And I'm over here like, yeah, I'm going to make a joke about it so that I don't do that. And then we're going to have fun and make
Yeah.
everybody else uncomfortable. And that's where the real fun begins. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Fun at all cost.
exactly. Well, like
Yeah.
my daughter, she's my youngest. She just turned 18 a little while ago. And
Really?
but she has some chronic illnesses, and so we deal with those on a daily basis. And but because of the things that she's gone through, and the fact that she's my daughter, she has a pretty wicked, dark sense of humor as well. And so the two of us will start going back and forth and picking on each other and making and we, and then sometimes we don't even catch it. We all of a sudden we're like, oh, you guys are uncomfortable. That's what's going on here. You're uncomfortable. We're fine as a daisy. You're uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
love that. That's a beautiful relationship, though. I often think that me and my mom have a very similar, like, we're just giggling about, like, everything that's going wrong, and at the same time, it's like, if you don't do that, then, yeah, what are we doing here? What are we
yeah,
alive for?
you know,
So that's
life's
great.
there's enough serious things in life where you don't have to be serious all the time. You can have some
Yeah,
fun. You can
yeah,
have some
yeah.
fun.
Coping is fun.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, Myrna, you've in your work and looking throughout your career and some of the things you've done, you've portrayed Jessica Cruz throughout many of the DC animated projects, including, of course, Teen Titans Go, DC Superhero Girls. There was Batman and Superman, Battle of the Super Sons. You were also Wonder Girl in some of those as well. And I'm sure there's a few others in there that I haven't mentioned. There's a whole lot of opportunities for both of those characters. Uh, but when you have performed a character as often as you have with, like, say, Jessica Cruz, I would have to assume that you find yourself taking ownership of the character to a certain degree. And if so, how does that affect your performance?
That's such a great question. So there there is a sense of ownership when you are performing the character. I would be remiss to say, as an actor, you tend, or at least I do, can tend to put my personal experiences or what I've learned of the character through, the entire canon that Jessica Cruz exists in, and how could I have put what I've learned into what I know, and then in part into DC Superhero Girls or Teen Titans
Hmm.
Go. And at the same time, um, the portrayal that I have done of Jessica Cruz is entirely through voiceover. And I genuinely believe that no character is yours as the actor, which has gotten me into some sticky situations with some characters that I have played, and I'm like, but it's me. And then it's like, well, no, it's not. um, Jessica Cruz, I was really just fortunate to have this whole background of other actors, including my dear friend Christina Milica, who I'm pausing because I realize she may have just changed her name. Anyway, long story, not about me, about the topic. So a lot of different people, a lot of different actors have played Jessica Cruz, and I went in with this idea of, like, oh, I can't necessarily say that she is mine and mine alone. I can give this character my spin. I can
Hmm.
give this character my point of view. And through DC Superhero Girls and through Teen Titans Go, I felt like I did. I gave it my spin. It was um, smiley Jessica Cruz that wanted to be Poison Ivy's best friend all the time, to the point of annoyance. The part of her that is, you know, sure and convicted of the rules is the part of me that I feel I've given to her. Um, but I think in voiceover, but as an actor in the entire realm of acting for me, I don't believe that I own a character. I grew up in theater, so to me, you borrow a character, you put on the character,
Hmm.
and you live in the character for a moment. But you have to give it back to the writer, or you have to give it back to the universe because at some point somebody else is going to wear that costume, that character as well. And I just think it's good to share. I like the idea of like, this is what I've given you all for Jessica Cruz, but what can you in part give back as well for her, to her?
I love that answer. That's a great answer. No,
Thank you.
in all seriousness, I really do. I love the fact that you're acknowledging that there are other people who have performed as this person, and that there is good things that they've added into these characters, and I think that the key word in all of that is the perspective.
Mhm.
From your perspective, this is how you see Jessica, and this is how you bring her to life, and all those other things. But now let me ask you a question about your answer.
Uh-oh.
A look, yeah, yeah. I do. I actually do listen when people talk. It's
Hard-hitting
scary.
journalism here.
Oh, scary. Like almost like I had you on an interview show. Uh,
Almost.
but
Wait, this is an interview show?
I know, right? Run for the hills! Oh my god!
Kidding,
And
kidding,
we're done
kidding.
here. We're done. Uh, no, but for you said you were talking about your perspective and how you would see things. Is there something that you've noticed in another actress's performance that you were like, I would like to borrow that, or maybe that's a part of my display of Jessica that I need to make better?
Yeah. Um, yeah, shucks, that's a good question because I haven't thought about that in a little while. But that is something that comes up often, both when we're in the recording studio and back when I was performing Jessica Cruz, I got the greatest of pleasures to record with other actors. And I would watch like Tara Strong or Grey Delisle,
Mhm.
and just like watch them work as their characters. And then they would like switch in a dime to a different character that they are also working on. And so that from that perspective, I was like, oh, I have to be good at knowing how to do that as an actor. But as far as like Jessica herself, um, I think, you know, I'm blanking on her last name, Diana. Diana. She did the live action Jessica Cruz. Um, I think there was a moment where I watched her on the HBO Justice League, I want to say, or Young
Okay.
Justice. It was the live action HBO Max or something TV show. And I remember watching her and being like, oh, she's so grounded. She's so like real. And I want to bring that realism into a world like Teen Titans Go that is zany and wacky and fun and fast paced. Like, how do I make it a little bit more real for the adults in the room to watch, or just for kids to recognize that, like, oh, this character belongs somewhere else too? And where do I find that realism?
Okay.
You
Great.
know?
Yeah,
Does that make
I think
sense?
no, it does. It does very much so. And I think she was on Doom Patrol. Was that the one?
Was that the one?
I think she was on Doom Patrol.
I should
Um,
know my Jessica Cruz is better.
that's okay. There's, in this day and age, we have a plethora of riches when it comes to nerd content.
Definitely.
And at the risk of dating myself and not hiding the graying of my beard behind my microphone pop. Uh, uh,
Yep.
when I was a kid, there was not this much, nerd stuff to
Truly.
enjoy, and everything. And now there's so much that people just can feel the need to complain about it all the time. Anyway, that's another topic for
Well,
another.
I mean, just to massage that topic a little bit, I think there's a lot for people to like as well.
Oh, there is,
You
absolutely.
know, if
I
it,
was just being a pain in the butt for the
it's
moment. Just
okay. It's okay. It's just because you're too sexy for your butt, man.
I
Though,
am so I am so gonna scream sing that to my wife tonight. That's gonna be awesome.
it's gonna be
We
great.
have hardwood floors throughout the house. I am totally taking a running slide at her.
Yes, do it. Do it. Do it.
She's like, "Where the hell did that come from?" Like, "Wouldn't you like to know?"
Yeah.
You'll know in 2 to
Silly.
3 weeks when the episode airs. Ah, there
Just a callback, just a callback. But I
There
do
you
think
go.
it's good that we have a lot of content,
Oh,
if you will, a lot of art. I like to still call it art because 'cause I'm
it's
old.
art.
It's art, yeah, and it's, something my brother said is, like, it's the American mythology, where,
Ooh.
maybe in 1,000 years, in 2,000 years, people will look back at our culture and go, "They really loved their superheroes, and it was their mythology," and we're gonna be like, "Yes, yes, it was."
Welcome to our lore. Here it is.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Now you have also performed in some and we've already mentioned the DC stuff, but you've been in some pretty cool major nerd sandboxes. World of Warcraft,
Yeah,
DC Comics, Star Wars, which
yeah.
I'm a fan of.
How are you
Huge.
now? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little bit.
My I mean, my son's middle name might be Harrison, as in Harrison Ford, but that's
Yes.
a whole nother topic.
That's legit.
I
That's legit.
totally snuck that one in on my wife when I was like, "Oh yeah, Harrison would be a great middle name. We should totally go with a Harrison." And
It's a
she's like, "Oh
strong
yeah,
middle
that's."
name.
And then she realized later what I did. No, she's like, "Yeah, it's still fine. I still like it."
There's
So,
nothing wrong with that.
but
There's nothing wrong with that.
I like to think so. But Myrna, what does it mean to you both personally and professionally to have been had an opportunity to be involved in these universes?
It is a great honor and a great responsibility, and it it really does tickle that, like, nerd part in me. I was not extremely bullied, but I was a nerd growing up, and my best friends and I just loved Star Wars, and we would go to the comic book shop on Tuesday afternoons, and then we'd get made fun of because we were dorks. And now I have those same people making fun of me because I was a dork going, "Oh my god, congratulations. I can't believe you're in Star Wars." And I'm like, "Hmm, thank you."
Yes, yes,
um,
I am.
yes, I am. It was all for a reason. um,
Everything's going just as I planned.
Yeah, yeah. No, I never planned this. I wish people had told me then that, like, this strife, this frustration, this people making fun of you is going to be worth it in the long run, we promise. But now knowing that, I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I'm over it. So it's healing. Personally, it's a healing journey. And professionally, that's where I do believe it is a great responsibility. Um, when I first started voicing Jessica Cruz, I worked with Phil Lamar that like first day,
Oh yeah.
and he was like, "So what have you read about her yet?" And I was like, "Nothing." And he was like, "That's ridiculous. You need to get all of her origin story comic books right now and read them because you're going to be asked questions." And, fast forward to now, I'm like, the questions. What do I remember? So it is a great responsibility, but I do try to take it seriously because I do understand that there are a lot of opinions and there are a lot of um, the there are a lot of people who have really deep emotional ties with this lore, with all of these amazing and well thought out pieces of art that exist in our
Yeah.
world. And, even a video game shapes a person's life.
Oh,
And
for sure. Yeah.
if you don't take it seriously and you don't, try to connect with your audience and try to connect with the fan base, then what are you doing? How are you really gonna help anybody? How does anybody take you seriously? So I try to take it seriously, maybe to a fault, but I do professionally try to take it very seriously. And personally, it is nicer when people send you an email and they're like, "Hey, wanna talk about some nerd stuff on my show?" And I'm like, "Oh, you think I'm nerdy enough? Okay, let's go." So, that's always cool.
Yeah, I can see how that would be.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for me, and one of the reasons why I wanted you on the show is A, you were in Star Wars and Star Wars. And one of the things I like about that, though, when I'll ask somebody to be on the show, is that usually there's a very tunnel vision of why I wanted to have this person on the show. Usually it's one or two things that I go, oh, I need to talk with that person about this, this, or this. And what usually ends up happening, and your case is no different, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, she was in this and she was in that. And she this person's voice, and oh my God. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like a week or so, or 2 weeks or so, usually, of me leading up to going, hey honey, look, she was out. And my wife's like, yeah, that's adorable. That's great. Okay. My wife's a
Thanks.
saint. She's put up with my nerdiness for a long time.
Bless
But
her.
oh, she
Bless her.
she deserves all the blessings. That is for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's piggyback off that question
Shoot.
about having played in all these cool nerdiverses, these nerdy sandboxes. Now, is there one that you haven't played in yet? I mean, your toys are there, you're ready, you'd love to play in that sandbox. What
Yeah.
sandbox is on your wish list?
What sandbox is on my wish list? Oh gosh, what sandbox isn't on my wish list? Um, I I'm whispering because I don't want anybody to know. I don't want the universe to get mad at this. Um, no, there's a couple. There's a couple. So I'm real remiss about the fact that they don't seem to be making any more Jurassic Park animations.
Mhm.
But maybe there'll be another live action film. I would love to be in a Jurassic Park.
Cool, yeah.
I love dinosaurs. um, what else? What else? Like I really want to be in this is going to sound weird, but I really want to be in Spidey and His Amazing Friends.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's such a fun show.
It
Like,
is.
I'm like, "Why not me? Where am I?"
You're like,
I
"I can
just
do it. Call me up."
yeah, yeah, like, where am I? And that's, like, an oddly specific one, I think, because I think the answer for the whole sandbox in and of itself is, like, be in Marvel. But I'm like, "No, I wanna be in Spider-Man."
That's perfect,
Where
yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like there's a world right now that we could come up with another Beetlejuice animation, and I would love to be in the Beetlejuice universe as well, because 'cause I'm
Okay.
a little creepy.
That's alright. Takes all kinds. It takes all kinds.
You
It's
know,
okay.
you know?
But I love the fact that you didn't just say Marvel, honestly.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
'cause
great because that is the sandbox, but,
right.
then the toys inside the sandbox are all the different characters, and
Yeah,
being able to use those and play with those characters. So I think it's cool that, like, when we talk to people about, "Oh, what's it like to be in DC?" "Yeah, I was in DC, but I am, Jessica Cruz, and I'm not just, I'm the Green Lantern. I'm not just
yeah,
in DC." So it'd be the same thing with Marvel. So I think it's cool that you're like, "Yeah, I wanna be in Spidey's Amazing Friends." Heck yeah.
yeah,
That's a cool show.
it is.
Uh,
Good.
yeah,
And I mean, I
absolutely.
guess just tipping my hat at Mr. Lucasfilm. Again, I would love to be in another Lucasfilm animation or TV show like this. That would also be really awesome, to be
Right?
completely fair.
I have said for a long time that, it is my life's goal, whether it'll happen or not, I don't know, but I'm like, I don't even have to have do anything big in the show or the movie. I just wanna have my name in a credit somewhere. It could say I brought water to the set one day. That's all. I don't care. I brought number 2 pencils.
Yes,
Whatever it is, I don't care. But
that's a
that would be
producer
like,
credit right there.
r right?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, that would be like my life, like the execution of a lifelong dream is to see my name in a Star Wars somewhere.
yeah,
But,
it's pretty
whether that'll
wild.
happen or not, I more than likely not, but it's a dream. It,
It can, it
it
can,
can.
yeah, why
You
not?
can
We
never
keep
we
talking
never
about it,
say
it'll
no.
happen. Yeah,
Exactly.
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 All right, so I want to read you something that I read on the internet about you.
Oh, no. Okay.
That's blood draining from your face, like, oh Jesus.
What did they say?
It's not bad, if that helps.
Okay. Okay, that helps, that
But
helps.
she's like, blood back to the face. All right. All right. So it said Myrna Velasco has a talent for voicing tough, intelligent characters in various TV shows and movies.
Aw.
So I found it cool that A, that they recognized it, B, that you gained that kind of notoriety for what you do as an actress. But if the note is noting the fact that you can do these things and you're voicing all these tough, intelligent characters, what is the toughest character that you've ever had to give voice to?
Uh, the toughest character I've had to give voice to.
Whether it was, just developing the voice or it was, trying to find sense in the character, what
Yeah.
your motivation for the character was, whatever that may have been.
Yeah, Ren in Behemoth. Um, she is the toughest character I've ever played. So the VR game Behemoth on MetaQuest is a cool game. Like if you have an Oculus or MetaQuest, like you should play it. It's really cool. You're doing some
Okay.
rock climbing. You're um, sword fighting. You've got Behemoth. It is called Behemoth because there are these behemoth monsters that you have to like defeat by climbing on them and not getting stepped on. And I'm like always getting stepped on whenever I play this game. That being said, um, I she is the toughest character. Her storyline goes through having to try to save her village from this disease they call the rot, which essentially is like a bubonic plague that kind of drives you crazy. It's a little bit like zombies, but not quite because they're still alive. But they've gone mad while they've got like disgusting stuff all over their body. To which again, if I'm playing, I'm like, don't touch me, good. So, and you can tell I am a weirdo, and
I love it.
I have a lot of jaw tension, so I'm always laughing instead of crying. Um, and so that it's hard for me to play tough characters, and I think it is interesting that I have gotten a reputation for playing tough chicks because I'm always like, "Hi, how's it going?" Um, but Ren was a really tough one because I had to, vocally stay in a lower register, which I'm trying to do right now. But normally I'm like, "Ah, yeah." So having to just stay low, stay grounded. Um, I'm an animated character in real life, so I want to project and be loud. And a lot of the direction from my dear friend Andrew Fishbooth, who was also the vocal director, a lot of his was like, "Okay, uh, no, try again. This time as if you could whisper it." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yes, that's exactly it." And I'd be like, "What do you mean?" Like the technical aspect of a tough character is hard for me to do, but I love Ren because she is no nonsense and she had to be intelligent, she had to be crafty. Um, she had to be trusting to things that she wasn't necessarily sure were even alive or real. Uh, and it is hard as an actor to like walk in into a dark story and like live there for even just 4 hours, and then walk out and be like, the sun is shining, but why? Um, So yeah, kind of living in Ren's world was really hard, because everybody's dying around her, and that's kind of the MO of video games sometimes, right? But it was a challenge for me, and at the same time, like it was the most gratifying challenge to like watch my boyfriend play the game, and he's like overwhelmed with emotion because this character was real and alive and angry and sad and at the same time relatable. Um,
Okay.
so I think I love Ren the most right now. so
That's
so
cool.
go play Behemoth if you haven't, and if you have the capacity to. Because I also
There you go.
recognize like VR, it does have like the not motion sickness mode to it, but sometimes in some games I'm like, I'm gonna die out here. So I
Yeah.
get for some of us VR is a bit too roller coastery, but it's a great game if I say so myself.
Yeah. I've played a few VR games and I've enjoyed them all, but a couple of them have been where I was like, I need to sit down now. This is a thing. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Anytime the world is kind of like rushing around me, I'm like, oh, I gotta go stare at a white wall for a sec. So I get that
Yeah. I
completely.
don't I don't get motion sickness very often, but every once in a while in a VR game, it will happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only like troubled part about VR. Like I wish it wouldn't do that because I'd be playing all the time. But
yeah,
maybe
it's
that's a good thing for me.
probably. Yeah. What's Myrna doing? VR again.
Yeah. Isn't she like doing that for like 30 hours in a row? Yeah,
A little
it's a
bit. Yeah. Yep.
problem. It's a problem. She
We're
only stops to eat and go to the bathroom, and we're worried about her. So,
we're
yeah.
starting VR Anonymous tomorrow, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. I can stop whenever I want.
It's not a problem. I can do it. Yeah.
It's a
That's what I tell
problem.
people about my Funko collection. I can stop whenever I want. I just don't want to
I
yet.
mean, you could. Right, exactly.
I could, but there's
There's
still
no
more out
reason
there that
to.
I need.
Right.
All right. So
I support you.
I'll take all the support I can get. All right. So when we started off this, I asked you about your origin story because I told you I'd like to know what makes people tick. Well, another
Yeah.
portion of that is that I like to ask people this question because it kind of shows where they're at and what interests them. So, what are you watching, reading, or listening to that you think everybody else should be checking out?
Am I watching, reading, or listening to? Everybody should check out. Okay. It's dorky. It's dorky, but also silly. Um, I am watching for the first time all the way through uh Letterkenny
Oh,
on
nice.
Hulu. I had never seen it before. And it
Can
is
confirm.
it what is the response to it? I should know it. Texas size, okay. Anyway, I would be here all day thinking about
Texas
all of
size
them.
10-4.
Texas size 10-4, yes. So good, so heartwarming. I'm a big Parks and Rec fan. Like that is still to date my favorite TV show. And
Ron
whenever
Swanson might be my hero.
Ron Swanson is everyone's hero, and if Ron Swanson is not your hero, I don't like you as a person. It's as simple
There
as
you
that.
go.
um,
No, son, I said
yeah.
all the bacon.
Don't need your help. Oh, just perfect. It's a perfect character. Yeah, and Wayne is of the Ron Swanson lineage. So
Oh,
I
similar ilk
love.
for sure.
Yes, yes, I love that show. It always makes me feel better. I had never seen it before, and my lovely, lovely boyfriend was like, "You need to sit down and watch this. If you like
Mhm.
Parks and Rec, you're gonna like this."
And
And
then you go from sorry, please.
wha-
No, please go ahead.
Oh, well, yes, we're so close. No, that's a good segue because we're so close to the end. I've only got like one more season, and I'm like, how can I keep watching more? And the answer is
Shorzy.
Shorzy. But okay, I have questions because Shorzy in the short bursts that Shorzy exists in is hilarious. But how do we stand him for a whole show?
I don't know. I'm mostly into Shorzy for the cut downs and comebacks. So,
Right.
much past that, it's Shorzy's a little much for me. The show
Yeah,
itself.
okay. The show itself, okay, it might be
Yeah.
too much for me, you know?
I really enjoy Letterkenny. I just there's not that many shows out there where I literally have to push pause because I'm laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, truly.
and things that I'm like I'm like, well, that's inappropriate. It's funny, It's inappropriate.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
get it.
deeply
I get it.
inappropriate,
Yeah.
but
There's like
done
4 people in
so
the world I can share this
cleverly.
with, but this is
Yeah, yeah, I can't say this in public, but
yeah.
it's the best.
Like, I'm pretty sure that line right there is how I get my mother to cry. Okay.
Right,
So
right. I won't say that to anybody. Truly, truly. But it is so good.
I
Yeah,
can
many a
appreciate that.
belly laughs, many a belly laughs. Um, to be fair, to be fair, see, now we're doing it. But I guess reading, I'm a bad actor right now. I'm not reading much right now. I just
Okay.
finished a film and I tend to get really like myopic and like zoned in on the film
Sure.
script. So when I'm doing a film, I don't tend to read as much as I want to. So I know that there's like 3 books that I'm like, I started it, but I couldn't give you a good review on it because I don't remember anything about it because
Fair enough.
I'm illiterate. So there's that.
I listen to books for a reason. So,
That's smart. Yes, yes, one should, and yes, I believe in the auditory experience of a book. Yes. That
yeah.
being said, I haven't been listening to any audiobooks right now either.
Yeah, if I don't my biggest thing is I simply just don't have the time to sit down and read a book, to make the time to read a book. But I can listen to a book on my way to work.
Yeah.
So, for my day job, I work for a car dealership and I run the social media and do all that stuff. So while I'm working on social media, a lot of times I have these in my ear and I'm sitting there listening to a book or a podcast or something during the
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
to facilitate me not going insane. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I get
because,
that. 'Cause
because,
going
you know,
insane is very likely in this day and
because,
age.
I had to be an adult and that was stupid. So,
I know. Same.
stupid, dumb, stupid adulting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah. Anytime I have to, yeah, like, reorganize a closet or clean the bathroom, it's podcast city for sure. Like, I love
oh,
me
for sure.
a good
Absolutely.
podcast. I've started listening to okay, this is a shameless plug because she's a friend of mine. It is
Plug
called
away.
Cosmic Conspiracies. I'm pulling it up right now just to make sure. No, it's Cosmic Crimes. It's the best. It's okay, so if you know anybody that's a little bit woo-woo, it is about let me just take a second to recognize what it really is about because I was reading something scary about it. Meaning, my friend Hannah and her co-host Joanna, they notate and read the astrological charts of serial killers. And
Oh
then they do
boy.
a I know, it's really intense. So it is kind of a downer sometimes. Um, but if you're into, like, astrology or you wanna know the biography of some, real creepy people, or it's Halloween time, this is a really great
Okay.
podcast. They go into, like, a really in-depth could their astrological chart, meaning like all of the signs and all of the stars they were born under, could it have somehow informed why they became serial killers? And a lot of times it's like, maybe not really, but also some other times they'll like talk about a specific day in their life that the stars said something bad was going to happen or something where they had to like uh, persevere or they had to like lay low and then that was the day they got caught or something and it's like whoa that's insane how did that happen so it's cool but it's also very woo woo but those are the cross sections of the world I like to live in as well.
Fair enough. What was the name
Yeah.
of it again?
It's called Cosmic Crimes and I think they have 5 episodes out right now so it's still a very brand new
Ah, yes.
very brand new podcast. I
Okay.
get very excited
Very
and I
cool.
forget how to speak English.
That's okay. Uh,
So I mishydrate.
hydrate, don't dehydrate, please.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's part of the
I
deal.
mean,
So
yeah, true, true. But you don't want to die if all you had to do was hydrate. You don't want to dehydrate if all you had to
there
do
you
was
go.
hydrate.
All right, Myrna. We are at the point where I need to ask you a silly question.
Yay!
Now, remember when I said, remember all the stuff from your childhood
Hmm.
later on?
Hmm.
This is going to come in really well. Plus, one of your other answers before, it's all going to tie in, I promise. And I didn't
Okay.
even know it was going to, so that makes this even better. So, like I told you at the beginning, normally I have my co-host Kathleen here. Kathleen's not able to be here tonight, but her and her daughter were out walking out and about. Her daughter's about 6.5, just to give you context. And somebody asked her daughter this question, but not Kathleen. And they were like, and Kathleen was like, well, that's rude. Number
Right.
one. Number two, you should never age out of this question. So here it
True.
is.
Okay.
Myrna Velasco,
Uh-huh.
what's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, that's a good one. My favorite dinosaur. I mean, it's a brontosaurus. I know it's simple, I know it's basic, but if you've seen Land Before Time, you are in love and have deep love for a brontosaurus. And the
Littlefoot.
Littlefoot and the Quest of a Tree Star.
Too soon. Okay. Anyway.
Always. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go there. Also, because that scene in the original Jurassic Park where the young girl touches the brontosaurus in the nose and it sneezes on her, that's my favorite scene in a movie ever. So I want it to be me to be sneezed on. So there.
Fantastic. I love it. I think you're also the second person to ever say brontosaurus. So,
What do people normally say? That's what I wanna
so
know.
the most popular answers are, what do you think? First off,
T-Rex.
T-Rex is always the first.
Yeah.
But lately we've been getting a lot of Stegosaurus and
Ooh.
Triceratops.
Yeah.
I'm
Triceratops is a good
I'm
one.
Triceratops,
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. Yeah.
Team Sarah.
Brontosaurus.
So,
Team Littlefoot. What
so
was Ducky? Do you remember?
I remember
The
Ducky,
important questions.
but what species
What
he
kind of
was, I do
species?
not
Yeah.
remember. I want to say he was one of those ones, the Diaphlanophonemimus.
Oh, yeah.
Got like the
Yeah,
little
'cause they
horn
have
thing on
the
the back of their head.
yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
right?
and if Kathleen was here, she could tell you because that's her favorite.
That's
So
smart. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
that's
good
her
one.
favorite. As a matter of fact, she keeps a stuffy on her
Aw,
desk of
of
that.
Ducky?
I don't think it's of Ducky, but it's
Of Ducky specifically.
that would be funny if it was.
Yeah.
But so, all right, very cool, very cool. All right,
Yeah,
Meredith, thank you so
these
much
good
for being
questions.
on the thank you so much for being on the FSF podcast today. Where can our listeners go to find out more about you, your work, anything you've got coming up?
Well, you can always Google me. uh, no, but you
Google
can
is
find
free.
me. Google is free. You can find me on Instagram. That's the only social media platform I find myself on these days. But I am a little bit hard to find because I think all the great things are a little hard to find. So my at is Myrnzilla, Myrnzilla, like Godzilla and Myrna put together. Um,
Perfect.
Otherwise, you can find my work on the Disney Plus app or HBO Max app or uh, Nickelodeon on Paramount or where else can you find me? I think that's kind of it. You could try to do some deep dives, but I won't answer my door if I am not expecting guests. So sorry,
There you go.
friends.
Fair enough.
You know?
No, nobody likes unexpected house guests. That's just
You
not
know,
fun.
it's just not fun.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
got to have a couple minutes to prepare for anybody to come over. Doesn't matter who it is.
Truly, truly.
So
I have a pet cat and I
it does.
cannot.
It doesn't matter how much I love you. I still may need a few minutes to wrap my head
Yeah.
around the fact somebody's coming to my house. So.
Truly, truly. Same.
All right. Well, Myrna, we'll make sure to put those links down in the show notes down below so people can look you up. We'll remind everybody Google's free. Just use that. But we'll also
Yeah.
put the Mernzilla tag in there for Instagram as well. Now,
Thanks.
guys, if you haven't already, here's a perfect opportunity to remind you that following our show on YouTube is a free action. You can do it you can do it. You can share it with your friends, your family members, all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, you following our show helps us to get more amazing guests like Myrna Velasco here today. And so we have these great conversations and funny moments for you to be able to listen to. So please consider following our show. It helps out more than we really will ever be able to tell you. And go check out this one over here. She's a lot of fun. So yeah, Myrna's got some cool stuff out there. So make sure you go follow her on Instagram and check out what's going on there in the world. So Myrna, thank you for being on the show. Everyone, thank you for listening and or watching this here Nerdatorium. And on that note, may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye.
And may it also be with you.
And also with you.
Copyright 2025 FSF Podcast. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.